Hello and welcome back to Wonderland Asylum. We're back today with issue 30 of the Hachette Partworks release of Titanic, the ship, the legend. So what's in the magazine for issue 30? Well, more on the Belle Epoque in Central Europe, basically saying that at the end of the 19th century, Austria's culture, vivacity and modernity made Vienna one of the leading lights of the era. Some artwork from Vienna at the time. Again, one of the facades in Vienna. And again, this, I think it's the Succession building in Vienna. Very impressive. And a memorial to the Titanic's crew. I believe that's in Southampton. Yes, it's in the high street of Southampton. And then again, more on the Titanic at the box office. This, I believe, is Raise the Titanic, which was in 1980. Not a bad film. I remember watching it. And again, as a child, thinking, why don't they just bring the Titanic up, completely unaware of the practicalities of it, and there we go. Of course, at that point, they weren't aware, or weren't fully aware, I don't think, that Titanic had split in half as she sank. The only thing they were aware of was that one of the funnels is missing, because as they brought the Titanic up in the film, you can see that the second funnel is gone. You can see there. They said God himself couldn't sink her. Then they said no man on earth could reach her. Now you will be there when we raise the Titanic. Again, not a bad film. Wildly inaccurate, but entertaining enough. And now we're on to the instructions for this issue. But first, let's have a look at the parts, shall we? Okay, so in the box today, we have some FM screws, a lot of AP screws, some EM screws, and some plastic details. We also have a horrible feeling of deja vu. No, we also have the kind of plastic gantry with the stairs that go up either side of the engine. It gives a degree of scale, doesn't it, that those are the steps that go up the side of those massive engines. That's made of plastic, and then we have the metal bracket that attaches under the engine. So let's get the cardboard out of here. And what are we doing first? Well, first we need some of the EM screws, not the FM, but the EM. And of course we need the engine that we were working on last time. So again, always an extra screw with Hachette, which is nice. So I'll get my screwdriver loaded up, as I always do. And then knock it over, as I usually do. Fantastic. So bring the engine over, and it is this piece, the plastic piece, that we need. So it will slide over here, just making sure these plastic studs line up with these holes, these metal studs, sorry, line up with these holes to make sure everything seats together properly. So just make sure they're all in the right place. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. And then it is, I believe, 4 EM screws that go in these holes there. So I'll put these in and I'll come back to you. In fact, it's these outer 4 holes, not the ones with the circular attachments, the ones with the square attachment that we're screwing in at this point. So I'll get them screwed in and I'll be back in just 2 seconds. Okay, so that's 3 of the screws in, and the final one is just going in there. So I figured I'll bring you back. Again, these ones, the holes aren't just as tight as the ones we were working on previously. The paint hasn't been applied as thickly into the screw holes with these ones, but still enough to make it a nice challenge, and we need a lot of downward force, but that's that nicely attached. And next, what we're doing is purely and simply attaching the metal section on immediately below it. Now you need to make sure that there's an indented side that has to go over here where the pulley is. And on this one we're using the FM screws, and there are 6 of them, and they go in fact no, I do apologise. I am talking nonsense. We are using 4 FM screws, so don't go looking for 6 of them, because there aren't, there are only 4. And they are going into the 4 central holes. There, 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 and there. I'll put the first one in. Very, very deep screw holes these. So if you don't have a particularly long screwdriver, I would advise getting one. So that to say is 1. 2. I think my screwdriver is just long enough before it starts to hit that shoulder, because I can feel them just bottoming out. I know some people, I use a precision screwdriver set that has replaceable heads. I know some people prefer to use likes of a Wera screwdriver, which is a long shaft on it. Ooh, misses, and the final screw goes in just here. So it's dependent on your own preference. I quite like this set because I do other work as well as just models, so having the additional heads is helpful for me. So there we go, that is the bottom all fitted just nicely. Okay, so with them in, we're now fitting 6 AP screws, or sorry, yeah, AP screws into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes. So I will put one in. And it's quite pointless me making you sit and watch me putting in all these screws, so I'll fit these, and well, in fact it'll probably take as long for me to tell you I'm not going to make you watch me as it would for me to make you watch me, because I'm nearly done. So I put the first one in, then realised my camera had cut out. So that's why there's only 5 screws going in, is because I basically said this already and then realised that my camera had cut out and wasn't filming for me, which is absolutely delightful. And there we go. And the final one goes in there, just like that. Fantastic. You can see the engine turning. Now the final parts we need are the 4, what are they calling them, exhaust valves, which look just like this, and they push into the holes on the top of the cylinders. So again, as I mentioned before, certain bits of this are a bit Lego-y. These push in like that, just on top of each of the cylinders. And then there is one final piece that I don't remember getting for the first engine, and when I went and looked, there isn't one on the first engine, which is a bit confusing, which is a little cap which goes on this end here. It says you can glue it if you wish, and I'm going to have to because it's very, very loose. So again, wasn't planning on using glue today, wasn't expecting to need to. So, a little dab of glue. As I've said before, I always use Glue It from the range in the UK. Very similar to Loctite if you live elsewhere, because it is a proprietary glue. Again, just dab a little onto my pin vise, which has a, it's an Archimedes drill actually, which has a straightened paper clip in it. Dab a little bit of super glue into each of the holes. That's all we need. And then place this end cap over, just like that. As I said, now that wasn't there in the other engine that I've done, and just to make sure, turning it anti-clockwise, that this still spins beautifully. Very nice. And as always, if you can believe it, that is us done for issue 30. Okay, so that's us all done for issue 30 of Titanic, the ship, the legend. What's coming in issue 31? Lots and lots of pipe work. Now, I believe we're actually going back to work on the first engine rather than the one we've just been building. So we'll have to set this one aside and bring back the one we'd done previously. Yeah, cool, whatever. But yeah, it's looking very good. The repetition ends with issue 31, but only briefly, because once we do it to one engine, we've then to do it to the other. Thank you very much for watching, but you didn't think I was going to let you go without seeing how the engine room is looking just now. Look at that. That just looks awesome. And as I say, in the next issue we're adding pipes and a gantry and everything on this side, and then later we add the same on this side. But as you can see there, both engines turning beautifully. Yeah, so very, very impressed with how that's looking. If you're impressed, if you're enjoying what I'm doing, then please leave a like and leave a comment. Consider subscribing, why not? Yeah, so join us for issue 31. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace out everyone.